Hello everyone. I just wanted to try to bring you a short sermon video this morning. I'm going to be in 2 Corinthians 11:22 through 30 first of all. This is Thursday, the 24th of September 2020, and we had church last night for the first Wednesday night in a while since the during the coronavirus. So this is what I told them last night, or something similar to it. And this is Paul talking to 2 Corinthians 11:22, and it says, "Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they the seed of Abraham? So am I." Paul was a Roman citizen, and are they ministers of Christ? I speak as a fool. I am more. In labors more abundant, in stripes above measure, in prisons more frequent, in deaths oft. Of the Jews 5 times received I 40 stripes, save one. Thrice I was beaten with rods, once I was stoned. Thrice I suffered shipwreck, a night and a day have I been in the deep. In journeyings often, in perils of water, in perils of by my own countrymen, in perils by the heathen, in perils in the city, in perils in the wilderness, in perils in the sea, in perils among false brethren, in weariness and painfulness, and in watchings often, and in hunger and thirst, in fastings often, in cold and nakedness. Besides these things that are without, that which cometh upon me daily, the care of all the churches. He had all that on him. Who is weak and I am not weak? Who is offended and I burn not? If I must needs glory over glory of the things which concern mine infirmities. And then I'm going to turn over here and I'm going to read just a few more verses. I know I'm reading a lot. Hang in here with me. And I'll try to make it worth your while. I pray it will be. Let's see. All right. And I'm in Hebrews 11:32 through 40 in the King James Version of the Bible. And it says, it's the faith chapter. And what shall I say more? And what shall I more say? For the time would fail me to tell of Gideon, and of Barak, and of Samson, and of Jephthah, and of David, and of Samuel, and of the prophets, who through faith subdued kingdoms, wrought righteousness, obtained promises, stopped the mouths of lions, quenched the violence of fire, escaped the edge of the sword, out of weakness were made strong, waxed valiant in fight, turned to fight the armies of the aliens. Women received their dead raised to life again, and others were tortured, not accepting deliverance, that they may obtain a better resurrection. And others had trials of cruel mockings and scourgings, yea, moreover bonds, and of imprisonment. They were stoned, they were sawn asunder, were tempted, were slain with a sword. They wandered about in sheepskins and goatskins, being destitute, afflicted, tormented, of whom the world was not worthy. They wandered in deserts and in mountains and dens and caves of the earth, and these all, having obtained a good report through faith, received not the promise. God having provided some better thing for us, that they without us should not be made perfect. They had the bulls and the goats and that kind of thing, and they didn't know the Spirit of God. They heard it prophesied, but they never lived to see it fulfilled like we have. And when we get to heaven, I guess I've got a big imagination, and I'm sure you do too, but I can just imagine myself sitting down with Paul, one of my heroes. He wrote more of the New Testament than all the rest of them combined, if I'm not mistaken. He wrote a lot. And I just imagine myself, I want to see Jesus first, the hero of heroes. And it said that the pure in heart to see God, I hope to see him. But I'd like to talk to Paul. He was hard to understand sometimes, and I spent a few hours trying to understand him. But say if Paul and I got to sit down and have a talk, I wonder if I would be ashamed to mention after all the things he told that he went through, and those people in the 11th chapter of Hebrews talking about faith, all of that he went through, and me say, well, y'all ought to have been there when I was there. I was there during the pandemic of 2020, 2019, 2020. I was there then, and can you imagine talking to those mighty men about such things? And what am I going to say to them? Somebody looked at me wrong. They got my parking space. They sat in the seat at church I sit in. I've already did a video on being insulted and offended. And I'm just thinking that when we get up there and we talk to these men, we're going to be so ashamed. Hebrews 12:1 says, wherefore, seeing we are also compassed with such a great cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doth so easily beset us, and let us run the race with patience that is set before us. I used to go to ball games. I played in a band. We played at ball games, and I'm familiar with that. And they cheer, and they have things. They have people they designate as cheerleaders, and so I could just see those old men. Paul, I don't know that it's going to be that way, but I could just see them saying, "You can make it, Dale." And I know that if they made it through what they made it through, surely we can make it through what we're going through. It takes a lot of word getting down inside of you and down in your spirit to face some of the abuse and trials that we go through. It takes the real word when your faith is challenged, to get you rooted and grounded and ready and prepared for such trials. You have to have the word until it's not just to you, but in you and grafted in. I hope this word just don't only get to you, but gets in you and in your hearts. You just have to have the word until it's just not to you, and it has to be grafted in. They're heroes among us. It could be the person sitting beside you, behind you, or in front of you, or it could be the one sitting in your seat. It could be you. I've been in, not a lot of times, but I've been in company meetings, and they'd give away something, and they'd have you check the bottom of your seat for a number they had taped on there. And if you did, you got a prize. You don't never know what's sitting in different seats, what these people went through. The person beside you, they could be dealing with anxiety, a troubled child, a sick child, or whatever. And it's the same way when you're going down the road and people's driving crazy, which they do. It could be that way too. Terrorists are in cell groups. They could be next door. They could be in a grocery store. They're all around you. And every time you start to step up in the ways of the Lord, Satan activates one of those cell groups against you. The enemy came to kill and destroy, but God, Jesus, he came that we could have life and have it more abundantly. And it takes a whole lot of word getting down in you to face some of the abuse and trials we got. Like I say, we need to get rooted and grounded. I wrote this a long time ago, and I just want to read it to you. And it says, so you're having a rough day. Who and what are you comparing to? You woke up this morning, didn't you? Millions didn't. Did you sleep in a car last night? Millions were homeless. Did you have more good health and sickness? So many don't. I was at the cancer center in Knoxville having treatments, and there was people, bless my little heart, but there was people that far worse than I am. Some of them may not even be alive now. I took it in September through November of 2018. So, do you have a bank account, food in the cabinet or refrigerator? You got money in a little jar somewhere, maybe some in the bank. What do you do when you feel sorry for yourself? Well, before the pandemic, I'd suggest going to the hospital, nursing home, funeral home, and just be glad that your loved ones aren't there, that you're visiting somebody, or you not there yourself. Have you got your right mind? I know several folks who don't. They were once smart, maybe smarter than me or you. Pity parties. Has anybody ever had anybody attend their pity party? I'm sure if they ever got there, they didn't stay long. If you got any success feeling sorry for yourself, go for it. But as for me, count me out. It just doesn't work for me. Even Job in the Bible, with all his troubles, was required to stand on his feet like a man. I remember my mother-in-law, she is my spiritual mother, and Annie Ruth Morris used to be priest, and she told me years ago, Dale, I have never got the Lord to do anything for me, trying to get him to feel sorry for me. And I've checked it out, and I haven't either. Trying to make somebody else happy and feel important. There's not any way to make somebody else happy and not get some of it for yourself. The day you learn to get your mind off yourself to think of others is the day your life will take a different meaning. A life of serving others makes a very rich, fulfilling life. Be positive. When you get all the negativity out of your life, just look and see how people react to you. You'll see a great difference. You will never want to go back to that old way. I want to tell you a funny story. I think it's Joel Osteen or somebody. He starts out with a funny or something, and sometimes I do, sometimes I do. I usually always tell a story of some kind, but it's not always humorous. But anyway, it said this monk joined a monastery and took a vow of silence, and they could only speak every 10 years. They'd get a review every 10 years, and they could speak 2 words. That's all they could speak. After the first 10 years, his superior called him in and gave him an opportunity to speak 2 words. Do you have anything to say? The monk replied. Do you have anything to say? The monk replied, food bad. Another 10 years, the monk again had the opportunity to voice his thoughts, and he said, bed hard. Another 10 years went by. Again, he was called before his superior. When asked if he had anything to say, he responded with, I quit. His superior said, it doesn't surprise me a bit. You've done nothing but complain ever since you got here. And then the story about the dog was on a porch and he was moaning and groaning. And a man was walking down the street and he saw the dog. He heard the dog moaning up there, and there's men standing on a porch. He said, what's wrong with that dog? He said, why is he moaning and groaning? He said, he's laying on a nail. And he said, well, why don't he get off that nail? And the man said, he's not hurting that bad. It doesn't hurt him that bad. So that's the way we are. We moan and groan, but we don't think about getting off the nail. But moaning and groaning and complaining is, Brother David Jones used to talk about the 3 C's. Criticize, condemn, and complain, I believe was his 3 C's. So they don't do me any good either. I've enjoyed being with you and getting this to you. I hope it's helping you. I pray that it'll be the right one. And I've been given my phone number, 256-508-4410. If you need me, if you call, I might not get right back to you, but I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And leave me a message if you will. Feel free to comment. So until the next time, may God bless you is my prayer.